In light of recent events, I've decided to talk about a book I read called Riding the Subway with Heidi and the topic of grief. Summarize the idea of grief for you guys. I think I've done a video for this before, but I kind of want to talk about this again because it seems pretty appropriate and it's raining outside, so another thought vlog for you. Riding the Subway with Heidi is by Charles Schmidtke, and the first thing I've written down here is that grief really isn't about moving on and getting over. It's learning to be okay with the way things are and living healthily with change. Pain is a part of life. It doesn't really diminish us, but it provides an opportunity for us to face adversity, see what's necessary in the lifelong puzzle of character building. It's really about creating ourselves and just learning to be okay and to spend what time we have here doing what we enjoy. Car. Attitude defines how we ride it. Opportunity or burden. Is life an opportunity for us, or is life a burden? And our attitude is what we choose, is how we sort of see life. Now, the idea of resignation is empowering on the subway because when we decide to resign and not fight things, we kind of coast through life. It's a whole balance between intellect and intuition, right? Conor Manning, the heart and the head, alternating when to listen to both. Meaning is reflected in our purpose and our attitude and how we see life, what meaning we get out of it, how do we derive meaning from our experience. The whole idea in this book is the idea of context spheres, of these like little spheres in our lives that we sort of move into. Context spheres that sort of influence your values, your attitude, your beliefs. Right now, a lot of people could be in their grief context sphere because of the recent events. Context spheres interact with our personality and create our dynamic character, because it sort of determines how we create ourselves, I guess, or how we adapt and cope. Good idea, a good analogy here is how musical moments are created in context. Like, they create meaning and emotional waves that attend to the music, so you sort of feel a certain way for certain kinds of music. That's kind of the idea. Certain situations, certain contexts make us feel a certain way, and that's just because of the way they are. The prison rainbow. You have light, right? White light hits a prism, and out comes the rainbow. Well, it's sort of the same way. We all have values and things, but we all express them differently. The other idea is the timeless truths inside of a water bottle. The water inside is timeless, the water remains the same, but the cover on the outside of the bottle is actually different from culture to culture. And that's from Tim Elmore. That's the leadership image. It's just cool stuff. For everything there is a time and place under heaven. When do you revel in being paradoxical? Grieving is sort of a prison too. It's kind of a way of living. It's not something that we have to fix. It's something we feel. And again, the rain is coming down harder. It takes time for us to understand it. Every contextual experience is pulsing and alive, and we feel it with every feeling we have. I think the willingness to be vulnerable and curious about all of this is really important too, to be able to just share how we feel about stuff. Because really, we can keep it to ourselves, but what good is advice for ourselves? We should really be sharing and be empathetic toward others and what they're experiencing. Because really, we're all human, right? Human beings are full of passion. Grieving may be individualistic, but it's something that we all share. In this book it says, even grieving alters the pace, the pulse, and the wave of life. I think that's just a change in how we see the context or how we cope with everything around us. Start to see the big picture or think really big when stuff like this happens. And I've been through a couple instances in my life, and I guarantee a lot of you have been too, but it's just something that we have to face eventually. This is something in here they talk a lot about faith and about God, which is interesting. Faith is a relationship with some sort of power, or not. A relationship with something. Spirituality is your relationship with some sort of thing you put meaning into. And religion should further meaningfulness, connection, and personal devotion. It shouldn't do anything worse than that. I mean, I for one, am kind of a belief in a higher power. That's just me. Religion's a hot topic, so I won't stay on that too long. But unforeseeability is natural of the creative force of life, uncertainty. We don't know. And there's power in saying you don't know. There's a lot of power in that. A lot of humility and gratefulness, gratitude, and humility, and liberation. The other analogy in here, this is just so cool. I hope you guys enjoy this. Dream upon a shooting star. But there's a difference between a dream and a wish. When you wish for something, you kind of hope it happens. Like, you don't visualize it, a wish is a dream without goals. And the last analogy here I think is really important. It's the idea that grief, because we all experience it, it's kind of like swimming in the ocean. We all get wet, but we all swim differently. Not one of us swims the same way. I think that's the perfect analogy. That's the whole, we're little boats all taking on water, right? We're all fighting our own battles. Hills and valleys. Ride the waves. Attitude ought to shape us and help us create us, not diminish us in any way. Experience joy as much as possible. Eat your feelings. Grieving is a process of redefining our life and attitude. We must adjust and cope well. Grasp paradox well. Be authentic and accountable. Open yourself to impermanence and the need to grow in all dimensions. Don't be indifferent. That's the greatest enemy, indifference. Right? I think Robin Williams said that. I think that was the Dead Poet Society. Count blessings, journal, listen intently, read, forgive, embrace close friends, connect spiritually, love unconditionally, be patient, be imperfect, share openly, recognize fear, give yourself permission to expand your life, be realistic, look for signs to meaningfulness, listen to others. You ever have signs? They're not self-induced because they're meaningful to the contextual experience, but sometimes I get little signs and stuff, just cool stuff that happens, stuff that you wouldn't expect. It's just kind of fun. What do you think about that? Am I crazy? Am I crazy with all this? Life is a beautiful gift, truly, and every life is blessed with simple and real opportunities and blessings. Very inspiring book. Very heartbreaking, emotional book, but on the highest caliber of This Star Won't Go Out. I'm going to read that soon too. Keep creating an awesome self. Don't forget to be awesome. And remember that grief is a bunch of waves you need to ride without resistance, as hard as it is. And redefine and reshape what you think about in a good way. And I'll see you sometime soon.